I first heard of alternative breaks on a national level in 2005, when students from across the country were coming together to help rebuild after the devastation of Hurricane Katrina. Alternative breaks are student-led service-based programs on college campuses, where groups of students come together to focus on a social issue, such as homelessness or HIV and AIDS, and travel to another state or another country to do service work around that issue. The program is unique in that students are well educated on social, historical, economic, and political contexts of the social issue and that community they will be serving before they even arrive. The goal is to be able to connect the issue during one's service trip to social issues within their local communities, and to create what is called active citizens, people who have their community in mind when making life choices. This idea intrigued me. I was in a deep depression that year after losing my sister-in-law to a bipolar disorder-related suicide. I felt this need to reconnect with the world. I wanted to join the 65,000 plus students who were fortunate enough to have extra time during spring break to help others in need. Prior to this, I had been a student athlete on campus. Upon my decision to transfer to FIU, I decided I would focus on my academics and on my personal development in other ways. In summer of 2007, I learned from my peer advisor, who coincidentally was a site leader for alternative breaks, of the plethora of programs that were available on campus. I was excited to hear that FIU actually had an alternative break program. I mentally filed this away as a possibility. As the semester began, I first became involved with the Women's Center. Shortly after, a friend who had been in contact with Angel Garcia from the Center for Leadership and Service asked me to be her co-site leader for an alternative break site that was being organized around women's issues. The opportunity had arrived, and I gratefully accepted the offer. As a site leader, I was responsible for the logistical aspects of our trip, such as communicating with our site contact in regards to the service we would complete, and planning our itinerary for the week. I was also responsible for conducting weekly meetings with my group from September to April to facilitate team building and issue education, as well as facilitate reflection sessions during each night during our service week. Our trip was based out of Greenville, South Carolina, where we worked in a group home for adolescent females. Learning to plan a trip for 8 people was a new challenge for me, but together we succeeded. Our last reflection session before returning to Miami showed me that alternative break programs work. The students in my group were beginning to make connections between what they experienced through our service and how they could become a part of the solution on a grander scale by becoming involved in local communities. When the application process for the next AB Steering Committee began, I was encouraged to apply for a co-director position. I was hesitant at first, but knew this was an opportunity I should not pass up. I applied and was later selected. I was thrilled to be in a new position where I could transfer my passion for social justice to others, while helping to build the leadership skills of my peers. As a part of my role on the steering committee, I attended a national leadership training hosted by Breakaway, the only national organization dedicated to supporting the development of quality alternative break programs across the nation. The training, called Alternative Break Citizenship Schools, or ABCs for short, is run half like an alternative break site, with emphasis on social issue education, direct service, and half like a conference where student leaders attend workshops on how to run an effective alternative break program on their campuses. The name of my ABCs was Rebuilding Democracy, where I worked in Biloxi, Mississippi on hurricane relief efforts and voter registration. It was here that I learned about Breakaway's summer internship program. After processing my experience at the training, I decided to apply for the 2009 internship. What better way, I thought to myself, to end the year of being a co-director at FIU than to be a part of the national team that trains alternative break programs across the country. By the end of January 2009, the decision was made. I was selected as one of Breakaway's interns for the upcoming summer. But before this could happen, the FIU Steering Committee had to finalize all the preparation for 19 sites to take place during that March spring break. I had one more trip that I was a part of, the animal rights site working at Farm Sanctuary in Watkins Glen, New York. I had selected a social issue that I knew little about. The trip was so transformative for me that I returned to Florida as a vegan. Breakaway's vision is a society of active citizens, people who value the community as a priority when making life decisions. My food choices became another way for me to exercise social justice in my daily life. I thought I knew about active citizenship before my internship. My understanding grew to reach new heights. This summer, I saw students transformed from the one-week leadership training experience. Students start off becoming involved for various reasons: leadership development, meeting new friends, the service and social issues, the trips even. But students return understanding that this is a movement across the country. Given the tools, they were ready to return to campus and pass it on, and subsequently transform their own programs to create a ripple effect. Just as the university cannot function without competent faculty and staff, the alternative break movement cannot survive if each individual campus is not ready to meet the programming and educational challenges they'll face. Each campus cannot function without strong student leaders, and strong student leaders can only be cultivated when they have the support of school administration and individual departments such as the Center for Leadership and Service. I learned that the work done in this office isn't just programming for the sake of programming. These programs build relationships with communities, mentor students, cultivate social and political awareness. It teaches students how to connect the educational component to the direct service provided to the community, and later to the reflection we do to teach us all how we can become allies and community builders through our service work. I cannot even begin to explain the deep-seated impact Alternative Breaks has had on my life, mostly because I continue to find new ways each day as I process my overall experiences. It is about more than organizing service trips and meeting new people. It is about creating a social consciousness, an orientation about how you view the world around you, and creating an understanding of how we as individuals do have the power to transform our communities for the better. In short, Alternative Breaks create social change. Alternative Breaks change the world. One break, one student at a time. I know that because of the Alternative Break program and my advisors at FIU, my life will never be the same. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. Knowledge of injustice creates a sense of social responsibility within each of us that cannot be ignored. It moves us to act on various levels within our daily lives. This is active citizenship. From seemingly small actions like choosing to support companies that pay their workers a fair wage, to joining a volunteer board or committee such as yourselves, all the way to making a career change. The point is that everyone can be an active citizen. Alternative Breaks is one way FIU students learn to become one.
Thank you.